What's up, rock stars? It's Rox coming to you today with a review for The Chi Season 4, Episode 4, you guys. So, we are back in our regular studio. I apologize for the noise in the last video. I was so determined not to do that video again. I was so busy and I wanted to spend the time with the family. So I was looking back at that video and I was like, oh, it's so much noise. I know that annoyed you guys. That got on my nerves too. I apologize. You guys deserve better than that. So we back in our regular surroundings, you guys. So back to the regular. Let's get to the review, shall we? All right, you guys, so I'm gonna do the video like how I used to do them, where I would put the stories together because it just flows easier for me. I hate seeing me having to jump all around, you know. So the way that I'm reviewing this is not the order that it happened in the show, yet and still it is still what happened on the show. All right, so let's start with Tracy. Tracy wakes up with regrets, okay, or maybe she just can't believe that she did this. Duda's not in the bed with her, but honey, you could see some half drank champagne glasses on the nightstand. She got to get up, and honey, that walk of shame is something fierce. It's even worse when the wife of the man that you just slept with is downstairs waiting on you. I was like, girl, you in some shit today, ain't you? You know, Rosalind, though, it ain't nothing but a thing for her. Congratulations. You just fucked the mayor of Chicago. Tracy was like, well, what did I win? And she was like, well, what do you want? Okay, you out here wilding for nothing? I mean, if you're going to be doing shit like this, you better be having a plan. All right, so Tracy, you know, all this is uncomfortable for her, so she got to go. And Rosalind was like, I can't let you do that. And when Tracy looks at her, she was like, I'm not trying to kidnap you or hold you against your will. Okay, I'm just telling you, it's a whole bunch of media down there, and they chomping at the bit. They can't wait to talk to somebody. And you walking out looking like you just went a couple of rounds with Duda. Yeah, maybe that ain't what you want. So Tracy sits on down, okay? She don't really have a choice. Now, let's jump over to Nook. Is that his name? Of all people, huh? This has something to do with Tracy. It's all gonna tie in. Y'all just hold on. So Nook is the one who has the girl that he is trafficking. Okay. Remember the friend of Trig and the other guy. What's old boy's name? The freeloader that's living with Trig and Imani. Okay. Anyway, he's with his girl and he sends her into the store. All right, and she's of course looking very self-conscious and very, you know, like she's nervous and scared, but she goes on in there, and then when she's in one of the aisles, up turns Imani, all right? And Imani is trying to get her to, you know what, tonight is the night, you know, can you get away? And the girl says, yes, she's gonna try to sneak out that night, and she will come and meet Imani. So they meet up, they set up a meeting place, and the girl is going to come to Imani. I was like, Imani, girl, you're gonna get this woman killed. Sure enough, that night when Imani tries to go to the meeting place, okay, the girl never shows up. And she sits there for a while. Again, she never shows up, so she drives off. Back to Tracy. Tracy is with Duda later on, and oh, he's buying her, you know, all these nice dresses and everything. And she just don't know what she did to deserve this. Well, you fucking on the mayor now, girl. You gotta look different. She says, why are you doing all this for me? And he says, because he wants to. They come to the conclusion that they using each other. All right, she using him to get the connections that she needs to get her foundation off the ground, and he's using her because, damn it, he's Duda, and that's what he does. I was like, child, this is gonna blow up. I'm just waiting for that to happen. But it seems like Tracy is really liking Duda, and I was like, girl, mistake number one. I mean, is this the kind of relationship you're trying to be in anyway? The man is married. What is going on? But you know, she got her foundation to run, right? And she's busy with the foundation. Her and Trig both, all right? So they're at the headquarters, and you know, they got their workers there and everything, and Imani shows up. Trig was like, what you doing here? And she was like, I ain't here to see you, nigga. All right? She pissed off. She goes up to Tracy, and she was just like, so you said you here for the people, you trying to help the people. Why you ain't got rid of that fucking trap house that we've been trying to get rid of all this time? And Tracy was like, it ain't that easy. We've been trying to raid that trap house for the longest. Okay. Well, in the meantime, her friend, okay, Trinity, she was trying to get her out of the, you know, get her out of there, but Trinity didn't show up. They were supposed to meet up last night, and Trig was like, that's where you were? She was like, fool, don't be asking me where I was. Yes, that's where I was. Okay, since you can't seem to do nothing, Mr. Man of the People, when you feel like it, Trig tries to get her to calm down. Listen, I'm going to handle this quietly. And she says, you better handle that shit quietly or I'm going to handle it loud as fuck. All right, and she walks out. I said, oh, Trig, you got yourself in a jam, ain't you? Well, you man of the people, like I said, you know, come on, get out there and make it happen. So Trig goes up to, you know, I guess the trap house in the back where Nook and his boys is hanging out, you know, and Trig, it ain't nothing but a thing for Trig. You know, he put his gun in his back. We ain't gonna worry about the fact that it's about 15 niggas out there, okay? And none of them on Trig's side, but that's neither here nor there. So he walked up to Nook and he was like, where Trinity at? And he was like, why you asking? And he was like, you know why I'm asking. He was like, yeah, I know why you asking. And you tell your bitch to stay out of my business. Now, you know you don't call Trig's woman no bitch. He walk up on him like he, you know, he about to do something. And all of his boys pull out their guns. And Trig was like, you forget, I ain't scared to die. And I was like, you obviously ain't walking up on all these Negroes in the back of this alley, but okay. But you know what? He still don't come up with no Trinity. When he comes home to Imani, she's sitting at the table, looking very upset. Trig looks very upset, okay, and hates what he has to tell Imani, but he tells her that Trinity's body was found over on Bishop Street. So, you know, Imani starts crying and she just walks off, all right, and Trig feels horrible. So Kevin and Nina and Dre, they are in therapy. Okay, Kev has a drinking problem. Even though he says that he doesn't, Dre recognizes that he does. Okay, Nina seems to not be clear exactly what's going on. Dre says that it's just been a lot going on. Stuff that happened with Keisha, the stuff that's going on with Kevin, you know, her and Nina not in the best place. You know, Nina was like, don't bring that up right now. Okay, Dre just trying to keep the family together. Nina says that she's tired and that she needs a break. Kevin says that he just feels like everybody is always all over him, okay? He don't get no breathing space, okay? People just always want to know what Kev is doing. And Nia says the only reason why she's like that is because of what has happened. Now, it don't seem like she's like that to me at all. I mean, that boy got a lot of freedom if you ask me, but I mean, that's how Kevin sees it. So, that's his reality. She says that when she's at work, she can't barely concentrate. I mean, everybody is traumatized from what has happened with Keisha. You know, and with Kev has been through a lot. Keisha's been through a lot. I mean, the family has been through a lot, so we'll give them that. What we gonna do about this? The therapist says, well, Kevin, I mean, if they give you some freedom, you know, can they trust you? Will you start coming home on time? You know, stop drinking, you know, let them know what's going on. And he says, yes. And Nina was just like, we done heard that plenty of times. He's like, see, they don't even trust me. But Dre is trying to explain to him, yes, we do trust you. We do, you know, we gonna give you this space, but you gotta do your part. So the therapist said it's a clean slate from now. From now on, we're gonna see how Kevin handles his new freedom. I said, boy, that Dre got a lot on her shoulders. Boy, she married into this family, and it's been something just every time you turn around, it's something else. And Nina better be glad she got Dre. All right. She's a good girl. Now, at the school, Gemma has gotten in trouble for the show, her morning show that she had with Jake on there. I mean, you know, they talk about fuck the police and all of that shit. So I figured it was going to be something. The mayor, okay, also known as Duda, is in there talking to the headmaster, okay, the principal, whatever he is, whatever you want to call him. But Gemma and Jake are sitting outside. You know what? She don't have any regrets. As a matter of fact, she like when people get mad. That's the only way you can get a reaction out of people. That's the only way that you can get some change. Okay, of course, I always, you know, Gemma. So, Duda comes out. I'm sorry, the mayor. He's in the mayor capacity right now. He comes out and he says, Jake, you don't have to apologize for what you said. Okay, that's exactly what happened. And you told your truth. The headmaster says that he about to table the show. All right, until everything died down. And Gemma was just like, why? That's bullshit. I was like, what is happening here? The kids just talking like this to the... I mean, we ain't got no respect at all. I mean, I understand we mad and all, but come on now. So she says bullshit, and then she walk off and say, fuck this school. And I was like, it was like, you lucky you're not getting suspended, okay, kicked out of the damn school. We just tabling this show for now. I was just like, I mean, I guess. So now Gemma's mad. Jake seems to just be going along with Gemma. But anyway, they sitting, and Gemma has decided we're gonna protest. We're gonna stage a walkout. She's talking to a group of kids that she's gotten together that got the same, you know, they feel the same way. And Kevin is there. So Kevin was like, I can't do that. I just told my damn family that I'm gonna get some act right. And now you guys want me to be walking out. I cannot do that. Well, of course, the kids don't understand that. Gemma don't understand that. You know, he's like a runaway slave, and that's what Jake calls him. And Kevin just says he don't want to get in trouble. All right, Gemma said, this is good trouble. And Kevin was like, okay, well, whatever, Jake. These rich kids gonna be fine. Okay, you and I, we ain't got no trust fund, you know, to come get us bailed out. And Gemma was like, nobody is going to jail. Okay, nobody's gonna call the police. And he was like, yeah, that sounds just like the spoiled rich girl that you are. We know better. So Kevin walks out. So the next day, this walkout is going down. Okay, Gemma is, I think they're sliding flyers into lockers. I wasn't quite sure exactly what they were doing, but anyway, her and Jake are working together. They got this flyer for this walkout, and Kev walks up and was like, you guys need any help? And, you know, they basically was like, no, we don't need no help from you. Okay, Mr. Runaway Slave. Always worried about getting caught. So, yeah, no, thank you. So, they go into class, and it's 2:45, and I'm thinking to myself, like, I mean, what kind of staging of a protest? I mean, when the school get out? 3:00? I mean, y'all walking out 15 minutes early. What kind of statement, y'all? Okay, I'm sure it's just the point, all right? But you done been in class all day. I mean, you done was really about it. You'd have walked out at 9:15, but let me not. So anyway, you know, it's 2:45, and so Jake and Gemma walk out, and the teacher's like, Jake, Gemma, I have not excused you from class, but they don't care. They walk out. Okay, power to the people. Except when they get out there, the people ain't there. It's only the white girl that gave Jake the blowjob. She the only one that's about it too. And other than that, nobody else has come because they say Kev has scared everybody off. I don't know if that's all Kev's fault or not, but that's what they decide. Okay, they go to the principal's office. The principal ain't even there. Okay, they want to demand to talk, and the principal's getting his teeth cleaned at the dentist. So now it's just like, what are we supposed to do? So the teacher, I mean, one of the administrators was like, well, you guys go back to class. They don't want to go back to class. I mean, this is the statement that they're making. So what we gonna do? Jake got an idea. He pulls the fire alarm, so at least it disrupts class and everybody has to come out. So they run out in front of the school, and then she was like, well, what are we supposed to do now? I was like, come on, revolutionary. You don't know what you're supposed to do now? Go throw some damn fire bombs. And no, I'm just kidding. Jake says, well, we can't go home. All right, it's too early, so let's just stay out until it's time to go home. So they're gonna go find some more good trouble to get into. So later on, we see Kev. Okay, now that school is out, he's at the restaurant with Papa. And Papa was just like, when you gonna show up for your girl? You know, Papa, he's always so in support of Maisha. He feels like Kevin is not doing his part to support Gemma. He was like, you don't do anything for her. You're not doing anything for Jake. You know, everything is about Kevin. You selfish. I don't know. I feel like Kevin has a reason to be the way that he is, but nobody else seems to see it that way. Am I the only one that feels this way for Kevin? Like, the poor boy is out there floundering, flipping and flopping around in the waters, you guys, but so Papa feels bad for him. He gonna try to help him out. So he gonna get on his IG live. And, you know, he has a pretty good following because of his podcast and, you know, all of that. So he's on IG, and he allows Kev to get on there and apologize to Gemma, you know, not being there for her and the things that she wants to do and yada, yada, yada. Then he get to begging, saying how much he loved her and please forgive him. And Papa was like, okay, now that's too much. Okay, I'm gonna turn the IG off now, you know, just to save face. No need for the desperation. But I guess they hoping that Gemma saw this. Now, Gemma ain't seen none of this because her and Jake are at some other little cafe, some restaurant, and they kissing each other, which we already could see coming. I mean, we already knew because that's how they opened the season, that these two were kissing. But now it's a little different. What are we going to do? You know, because now Kev is texting Gemma, and Gemma's not answering. All right, and so she's like, what are we supposed to say? You kissed me. And he was like, and you kissed me back. I was like, really? She kissed him first, right? But whatever, that's neither here nor there. What are we doing? I said, oh, Kev done lost his girl. That poor thing, and he in love. And I don't even know if Jake really like her like that. That's too bad. Now, jumping over to Keisha. Keisha's meeting with a new couple. All right. And they come over to the house, and she was like, tell me a little bit about yourself. And they've adopted like 3 or 4 kids. You know, they brought the photo album so she can see the kids and how excited they are about getting her kids. I mean, her kid. Keisha looks at him and says, you can't have children. And she was like, no, you know, she had ovarian issues and he got a low sperm count. So no, they're not able to, but you know, this is their way of having babies. So Keisha already looking at them like, something wrong with y'all. Y'all can't have no babies. All right. How many kids you guys planning on adopting? She was like, we hope that yours will be the last. But Keisha's looking like, you guys gonna squeeze my baby in with the rest of these kids. You ain't gonna be able to take care. So, you know, when she gets up and the man says, you know, hopefully you'll make the godly decision. I mean, you already made a godly decision. And she was like, what? And he was like, I mean, you decided not to kill the baby. That was a godly decision. And she was like, God didn't have nothing to do with that. So I guess Keisha now has an attitude with God. And he was like, of course it does, you know. And then they start talking about, you know, how everything in the Bible, that's how they run their household. And, you know, that's how they... And Keisha looking like, oh no, this definitely ain't gonna work. So it goes left. So later on, we see her sitting and talking with Tiff at the restaurant, at Emmett's restaurant. And, you know, they just kind of laughing about what's going on in Tiff's life. As a matter of fact, Tiff ain't really telling her. And she was like, why don't you just tell me what's going on? I mean, it's we used to share Emmett. Okay, so, I mean, you can tell me. And Tiff was like, girl, none of your business. But how are they doing? Well, they ain't really doing all that well. As a matter of fact, Emmett walks up and he was like, what y'all talking about? And she was like, don't be come over here asking our business. We ain't got to tell you what we was talking about, you know. And he was like, yes, you do. When you in my restaurant, you do. Okay. And Keisha just looking like, oh, this is a little marital spat. When the show opened with Tiffany in bed with Dante, and Dante got his face in the place, and she looked like she enjoying herself terribly. Okay. Emmett looks like he's having a terrible time. He's fucking some girl. A girl's giving him a blowjob at the house, but he looks like he is very unhappy. I was just like, Emmett, how long you gonna let this shit go on? So anyway, he frustrated, he irritated. They up here laughing in this restaurant. He don't know what they talking about. Well, Emmett wants to talk to Tiffany, so she gets up and they walk out, you know, so that they can have a word. And she was like, oh, so you just gonna be fucking on Donna and not telling me? And he was just like, I didn't know I had to tell you about who I was fucking. And she was like, you know that we used to work together, and that's the one that always have a whole lot of shit to say. Okay, straight out of Baby Boy. Emmett was just like, it's too many fucking rules. All right, first of all, Emmett don't want to do none of this, but for some reason he can't say it. I guess because he feels bad about what he's done to push Tiff to this point in the first place. Now, you all mad at me, but you keep on running back to that nigga Dante. And she was like, well, what, you want me to diversify? Okay, should I be fucking a whole bunch of niggas out there? Well, that ain't what Emmett wants. But like I said, Emmett don't want none of this. So what are the rules? Well, they get in the car. Tiff says, you can't fuck nobody in our house. Okay, where our kids are always going to be, and you can't have nobody in the car. He was like, okay, that's really my car, but I mean, okay, what else? Everybody got to know that you married. And he was like, well, a lot of women don't like fucking married men. Okay, well, that's on you. Okay, what else? And don't let her be finding out on these streets who he fucking. All right, you need to keep that shit away from her. All right, fine. Well, what are your rules? Emmett's rules is you got to stop fucking Dante. And she was like, nope, not negotiable. And he says, why not? She was like, because, okay, we can't negotiate shit that happened before this conversation. Dante was already in the picture. That's what it's going to be. And he was just like, so you just going to keep on going back and fucking that nigga? Like, no. And she was like, well, do you want me to be catching a whole bunch of dicks out here on the street? Is that what you saying? Like I said, the boy trying to say that he don't want to do this at all. I don't know why Emmett won't just say that. As a matter of fact, he said he don't know what he's saying. She was like, okay, well, stop giving me shit about Dante. Okay, I'm going to keep on doing it with him. I say, Emmett, boy, you got to put your foot down. Now, I know you've been wrong and you've been wrong and you've been wrong, but how long you gonna let this foolery go on? Especially when we see Tiff go over to Dante's and this child look like she falling in love with him. All right, she hug him when, you know, she walks in and he come up, you know, and she just smiling, and I was just like, I already know that this is somewhere along the line, this is gonna get real fucked up, because when you falling in love with the man and you already married, like, what is that saying? So it's gonna be something. Now, jumping back over to Keisha. So Keisha, now that she done decided that that couple ain't it, she goes to Octavia's job. All right. while she's waiting for her to be seen, she asked the receptionist, so, what does she know about Octavia? She says, she's a very private person, but I've been working for her for 7 years. She comes in every day. She has a smile. Okay. She's very sweet to everybody. She even helped pay for a family member's funeral when somebody died. Like, she's just that person, and of course that is making Keisha happy. It's time for Keisha to go back and meet Octavia. So while she's waiting for Octavia in the office, she's looking around and she sees all the drawings. I believe Octavia is an architect. Or an engineer. It looks like an architect though, or a designer, some sort of designer. So Octavia comes in while she's looking, and she's like, did you do all of that? And she says, yes. And she was like, well, how did you do that? And she says, well, with a vision and a lot of help. She just sees what she wants it to be, and then that's how she creates it. And she says, well, what do you think about me when you look at me? And she says, well, you're not the same as a building. Building starts off as rubble. Okay, well, look at me as if I was a building. What would you think? And Octavia says, I think of you as a strong building, that withstands hurricanes, all the storms. Okay, it is not going to get blown down. It's a very strong building. And Keisha's just happy to hear these things. All right, so yeah, she's feeling like Octavia is probably going to be the one. When she's leaving, though, she goes into full labor. She goes into labor. It looks like, I'm talking about 10 centimeters. Like, now, them Braxton Hicks can be strong, but I was like, golly. Is she in labor right now? So they rush her to the hospital. The doctor, they get her on the table. They get her in the bed and they do some tests. And Nina rushes down there as well. And the doctor comes back and says, okay, they are Braxton Hicks. So you don't have to worry about that. Those Braxton Hicks can get sharp. I ain't never known them to look like you was full-blown labor, but maybe it happens for some people that way. They can be tough. So anyway, the doctor was like, yeah, we don't have to worry about that, but your blood pressure is high. Okay, and that could be a danger for the baby. I say that we should induce labor today. All right, just straight out the blue like that. I was just like, I done had 2 babies. That ain't usually how the doctors do it, but I guess for the TV show's sake, Lena said, damn it, we said we having this baby. And, she's like, what? And, Octavia, always the cool head, like, wait a minute, hold on. Well, let's just, She done been down this road with doctors before. She's had many miscarriages. Okay, doctors don't have all the answers. Because when Nina, asked her, like, you second guessing the doctor? And she was just like, no, but let's just wait. Okay, Keisha, you have you a glass of water and we just gonna see what happens. It'll sound like my mother. When I was little, my mom used to always tell me to have some water and go to bed. Like, okay, maybe that'll make you feel better. Just drink some water. The water was the cure to all problems at night. So anyway, while they're at the hospital, Nina's calling Dre. Of course, Dre is not answering the phone. So that's creating a problem. Because where is Dre at right now? Well, Dre is actually at Jada's chemotherapy appointments, trying to be there for Jada. And she's just telling her, like, I'm going to have to tell Nina because it's starting to be a problem in the marriage. And Jada was like, oh, you can't say anything until I tell Emmett. Okay, a bad place to be in. I would go on and tell my spouse. I'm sorry, it's not worth all of the turmoil that it's creating in the household. Let me just let her know. And, because Emmett is going to find out eventually. So I don't know how long we think we can play this game. So I would have just had to explain to Jada that I'm going to have to say something. This is my marriage. This is my wife. And of course, while she's there, the call that Nina made is, that's when Dre was like, look, see, she's calling me now and I'm not answering. Okay, so Jada thanks her for, not saying anything. Just let her handle it. And then back at the hospital, the doctor comes back in the room and he's like, okay, your blood pressure's down. Okay, we're not going to induce today. And, Octavia was like, see, I knew it. Ain't nothing like a little water and waiting. So, of course, Keisha's very happy now, and when they're leaving the hospital, Keisha was like, you're the one, and Octavia's like, really? And she's like, yeah, everybody tells me to follow my gut. Okay, my gut is telling me that you're the one that should have this baby. So looks like Octavia has got her little baby. She thanks Keisha, tells her that she's a blessing. Jada goes on home from her chemotherapy appointment. You guys, anybody that has had people that have had chemotherapy will know that a lot of times they are very sick after they have chemotherapy. They're nauseous, throwing up. It takes them a couple of days to get their bodies back regulated. So Emmett, being upset about what's going on with him and Tiff, he goes over there to see his mother. And old masseuse, he opens the door, and, you know, Emmett was like, "You still here? Like, where's my mom? I need to see her." And he was like, "She's in there resting." Okay. Well, Emmett comes on in and he sees Jada. She's at the toilet, you know, and she got her face down like she's throwing up. And he was like, "What's going on here? Are you pregnant?" And she looks at him. She says, "Oh, Emmett," says, "I have cancer." And he's just speechless. He's just sitting there. And, yeah, it's tough when your mom tells you that you got cancer. It's crazy. The way you feel is like somebody threw some bricks at you or something. So he doesn't know what to say. He's just speechless. So he goes on home. Tiff is downstairs smoking, and he comes, joins her, takes a puff, and then he just looks like, you know, something really bad has happened. She's like, "What's wrong?" And he's like, "How do you know when something's wrong?" "Well, you sitting there green, all right, you looking like you about to cry at any minute, you know, like, what's going on?" And he just starts crying. And she gets in his lap like, oh no, this is, what's wrong?" Well, he doesn't tell her. When Nina and Keisha get home from the hospital, Dre is already there. She's cooking, and Nina was like, "Oh, this better not be your way of saying sorry. You better have a better story than this." And Dre was like, "You know, I have to have the phone off when I'm at work." And she was just like, "We was at the hospital. What happened?" "Okay, the girl almost died." "No, I did not almost die, Mom. I had Braxton Hicks contractions. I'm okay." And Dre was like, "Don't be scaring me like that." Okay. But Nina's irritated with her, that she still don't know what's going on, why Dre is being so secretive. So later on that night, when they're in bed, Dre is asleep, Nina's not. Okay. And the phone lights up over there like a text message has come through. So, you know, of course, Nina looks over at Dre to see if, you know, if she gonna wake up. Then she get on up out of the bed and goes and walks around to the other side of the bed and picks up her phone. And she sees that it says, it's a message from Jada, and it says, "Thanks for keeping our secret." Okay. And Nina looks at that and she looks very upset. All right. I was like, first of all, this is something that can be explained very easily. All right. But I feel like Nina's probably going to make it be more about the fact that you don't trust me enough to tell me something, you know, you keeping secrets and all of that. So it's probably going to turn into something bigger. But I mean, if people was just being rational, you would understand why maybe somebody didn't want to say something, even though this is your wife. That's why you really just needed to be truthful about it. Emmett knows now, just like I said, he was going to find out eventually, you know. I feel like this is going to be a bigger deal than it needs to be, but at least Emmett knows now. So Dre can try to get Nina, you know, she can try to get back in Nina's good graces. I am going to review the encore. We're just going to start off with episode 2 because I don't have time to be reviewing episode 1. Maybe if I can, I'll throw in a little bit about episode 1 in the second review, but yeah. But I am going to be reviewing that for those of you guys that have been asking. So it should be coming up. I don't even know what day it comes on, but I'll make sure that I review it. Okay, I'm gonna get off of here. Make sure that you rate, comment, and subscribe to the channel. I'm itsrox. The channel is itsrox, and everything else I do will be in the bottom bar. All right. So I hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day, and I plan on doing the same. Till next time, rock stars. Goodbye.